Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine, and it's welcome to this week's playlist, which I think is week 32 for me. Now, this week I've not picked a specific year. I've got a lot to do this week. I've got lots of exciting things going on with Now Spinning Magazine, lots of podcasts to set up, and I'm also trying some new things out. So I needed to find 7 albums that I felt would motivate me throughout the week. So I needed something to kind of tick all the boxes that would keep me positive, enthusiastic, and also take me back to some things I hadn't heard for a while, but also some more recent things as well that I've added to my collection. So there's CD and vinyl here because remember, I am multi-format man, and Now Spinning Magazine is completely multi-format based. So the first one, I thought, well, to Monday, I need to hit the ground running. I want to feel positive. I want loud guitars. I want choruses that lift my spirits and make me feel as if everything that's going to go right will go right because nothing could possibly go wrong. The band that ticks those boxes today is H.E.A.T. I'm sure I've talked about this band and this album before. This is the 2022 album Force Majeure. Back in the rhythm, nationwide, Tainted Blood, Hollywood, Harder to Breathe, Not for Sale, One of Us, Hold Your Fire, Paramount, Demon Eyes, and Wings of an Aeroplane. An absolutely fantastic AOR melodic rock album that takes all the best bits from what you've known before, if you're a fan of this genre, whether it's from the 80s, and takes all the best from what's going on around us now. The lyrics are mature, the riffs are timeless, the choruses are just magical. If it's cloudy outside or it's raining or you just think, oh, what have you got to do? Put that on and it will just lift everything. The sun will shine, the clouds will part, and all will be good. So that is going to be on my playlist. And today, it being Monday, is the album that has already been spun a couple of times. The next one, I also want to be driven by guitars, but I also wanted something vocally to really dig deep and reach down and pull me forwards to the things that I want to try and do this week. And it's W.A.S.P, Blackie Lawless and the Crimson Idol, an album that must have sat very close to Quadrophenia by the Who. The drum sound is like Keith Moon channeled, but it is Blackie Lawless's masterpiece. A lot of people who don't know W.A.S.P will think of all the almost cartoonish 80s metal album covers and album tracks and stuff, and have already put them in a box that they just decide is not for them. And I understand that. But this album is something else. And in fact, I was almost one of those people who thought, I think it was the Headless Children that made me think, there's more to this guy than meets the eye. But this one is just amazing. Yes, the track, the idol, the guitar solo, and the chord structure is, in essence, quite close to Comfortably Numb by Pink Floyd, I think anyone would say. But the guitar solo is one of the best guitar solos of all time. In fact, I should probably feature this separately. But this album has been with me a long time, and I think the angst in Blackie Lawless's voice is such a tremendous emotional vocalist. You know, when he turns all the dials to his creativity in this direction, he really is a force to be reckoned with. And this is, to me, his finest moment. There are moments on other albums. I've got loads of albums by W.A.S.P, but this one, there is also a box set version to this, and I've got it on vinyl somewhere as well, but I couldn't find it. This is marvellous. Just play the idol, if nothing else, and it will, there's a melancholy twist to it. So I suppose you have to be kind of careful to make sure you're where you're heading in your head. But it's just the human condition, and again, it's one of those. It's how music interacts with your life and your neurons and everything. It's just everything. Anyway, there's that. I then felt that for day 3, I needed some prog, and for this one, I'm heading back to 1977. And it is, yes, going for the one. I saw them at Stafford Bingley Hall. I was an apprentice electrician, and I was worried about getting home in time to catch the bus to meet my mates to go and see them. And I hadn't known Yes for very long. 77, I hadn't. You know, there was something that the big kids at school were into. And I unfortunately said to someone who was standing next to me, "Oh, I wish they'd done more songs for the new album." And the guy says they did all of them. I didn't know the album well enough. But as the years went by, this tri-fold album sleeve cover and this album has just like entered a new world for me. I mean, one of the songs on here, I mean, Going for the One is probably the most rockiest song that Yes had ever done at that time. And Parallels is a great track, and Awaken, almost the whole of side 2, Wondrous Stories was a hit. And the song that I've missed out deliberately is Turn of the Century, which is one of the greatest pieces of music ever written, ever. And that it's just like it's got tuned percussion, and it's just like floats in the air, and it's just, you know, like leaves we touch, we dance, we once knew the story as autumn called, and we both remembered all those years ago. I'm sure we know. As a sign of a touch, as I kiss your fingers, we walk hands in the sun. Memories of when we're young, love lingers on. And it's about somebody, an artist losing his muse, and it's about loss, it's about beauty, and the way it builds up at the end, and it all comes in with this kind of climax of keyboards and guitars and synths. It's just so moving. It really is a wonderful, wonderful song. So like leaves we touch, we see, we all know the stories. As autumn calls, we both remember all those many years ago. The sound in the background is a helicopter going overhead, in case you wonder, which I arranged especially for this video. So that's number 3. Number 4 is back to rock, and I'm excited to be playing this because very, very soon I'm going to be talking to the lead vocalist and guitarist. And the band is Coney Hatch, and Cole Dixon has agreed to come on to the Now Spinning Magazine podcast for an interview. And this album, Friction, which I think was the mid-80s, 1985, it was their finest album at that point, produced by Max Norman, whereas the other 2 albums were also fantastic. This one is just track by track. They just knock you down like dominoes. This Ain't Love, She's Gone, Wrong Side of Town, Girl from Last Night's Dream, Coming to Get You, Fantasy, He's a Champion, State Line, Burning Love. The tracks there are listed, not in the order they are on the record. But this is a marvellous album. The Rock Candy remaster is the one to get. Just for ease, I found the vinyl version. But this is, you know, the voice, the vocals, they should have been massive. I mean, was it because Phonogram, all their energy was heading towards Def Leppard at this stage? But what a band. And this is a great AOR melodic rock album. It's timeless. Played it yesterday actually in the car. We were going to Falmouth in Cornwall, and then that's when I thought I'm going to dig that out, and that's going to be one of my albums of the week. And so that is Coney Hatch and Friction, and looking forward to talking to Cole very soon. I'm rolling back now even further now into the past. 1971, I think. Is it? I need to check where I am. I think it is. Is it? No, it's not. It's 1972. And it is Jim Capaldi and Oh How We Danced. The reason why I bought this was because it featured Paul Kossoff on one of his session albums. And there's some wonderful pictures of them, like Jim Capaldi in his kitchen and then Paul Kossoff, all looking like really natural, unprofessional photographs. And for years, I thought there's a song called Don't Be a Hero, which is a ballad. And it's all about don't be a hero, heroes are so sad, don't be a hero, it just makes you feel bad. Beware of the candy man, he doesn't realise that the present that he's bought for you is going to burn out your eyes. And it's all about fame, I think, and and drugs and things going wrong. There's a guitar solo on here that sounds so much like Paul Kossoff in his style and his execution and the way it's been structured. that for years I thought it was Paul Kossoff, and it was David Clayton from the Free Society who said, actually, Phil, it's not. And even then, when he said he wasn't, I was convinced it still was. And I've seen numerous people think it's Paul Kossoff, and it isn't, it's Dave Mason. But it is absolutely marvellous. I mean, Jim Capaldi was a great artist. It's that time when bands did like solo albums and they were nothing like the mothership that they came from, Traffic in this case. And record labels gave their artists a chance to just try out new things, knowing that it probably wouldn't sell. And it didn't. But this is really, really great timepiece. But it's Don't Be a Hero. Stream that track. Imagine it's Paul Kossoff if you want. I did. But it's absolutely wonderful. And the next one, I wanted to go back to prog. And this is one of my favourite bands. And it's Riverside. And I know a lot of people at Now Spinning Magazine have become fans of Riverside, even though I've not even done a major feature on them, just by mentioning them here and there. And so many of you have gone out and bought their entire back catalogue. This was my entry point, which is Anno Domini High Definition. And I bought this, I think it's about, could be 2011-ish, I think. This is the vinyl version. There's a 2 CD, there's a CD DVD version. There's lots of variations on this. And it's really, really creative, progressive rock. If you're a fan of Pink Floyd, Deep Purple, because of the Hammond organ, the guitar from Pitcher, who's sadly passed away. And these are names I can't pronounce. So for the band who are watching this, I apologise. So when we eventually talk to each other, I'll have to do some homework. But Majeure Duda on vocals and bass. Now, a lot of the songs are driven by the bass. Duda writes a lot of the songs or starts them off, and the bass riffs are just amazing. The rhythm sections, and a lot of songs start with this almost hypnotic kind of like prog, but electronica from the 80s and 90s and the noughties all mixed in. The songs are long and intense, dreamy, progressive, and you don't know what's going to happen next. And you know, side 2 is just 2 tracks, Left Out and Hybrid Times, which is fantastic. The guitar lines are just dreamy and precise, but so full of the human spirit and so full of feeling that I just love this band. There is no bad album by Riverside. And I think this is one of these cases for a lot of things where your entry point to a band becomes where you stick your flag in the ground. It's highly possible that there are far better Riverside albums than this, perhaps the first 3, the ones that are classed as a trilogy. But this is my favourite because it was the first one I bought, and everything that I bought when I went back in time to get their back catalogue and everything I've bought since stems from my love of this record. It really is totally original and amazing. It's absolutely stunning. So this one, which I'll be playing throughout the week, and I always love it when Riverside put me in a great frame of mind. But they also bring in, they're reflective. Some of the songs, there's a lot of emotions going on in this, but it really, really is good. And with the last album, I thought I'd end with some jazz over the weekend, probably, with one of my favourite live double albums, and it is Pat Metheny Group Travels, which I also got on CD. This is an incredible record. At that phase, where was it, 1983, it brings together where Pat Metheny was at that point. And of course it has As Falls, Wichita, So Falls, Wichita Falls. That's the helicopter on its way back to base, which is probably my favourite Pat Metheny album of all time. But the live version here is just amazing. It's just immaculately produced, and it would... Yeah, it's probably on ACM Records. It's probably a good place to start if you want to explore Pat Metheny. Yeah, I think it is. I think anyone, probably other people would probably agree with that. But yeah, great. So that is my playlist for this week. Let me know what you're playing. What have you got lined up for this week? What are you going to be spinning on your CD drive or your vinyl decks? Let me know. Let me know what you think of what I've chosen, and let me know what you've got any new discoveries and etc. Because the great thing about this, you're inspiring me, and what I also find time to play during the week as well. So I think one of the albums last week was Double Vision by Foreigner, which I did play quite a bit last week as well. So thanks for that. So thank you very much. Thank you for those of you who've recently become patrons or become YouTube members. You really are making a difference, and I'm so excited to have you on board. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for ringing that little bell thing and sharing and liking and commenting. It's absolutely brilliant. It really is. So take care, everybody. Remember that music is the doctor and the healer. Keep spinning those discs, and I shall see you very, very soon.